Yes, a wonderful evening to you all viewers. Welcome back, and I hope you had a nice week over the other and the weekend. Today is when I get to wish you a nice weekend. Our time check is about 3 minutes past 9, and today is the 4th. Yes, 4th of June 2024. My name is Noah Wapera, and this is Smart 24 TV Driving Business. We are back with the economic agenda. Now, today the budget framework was launched, and that was happening at Serena Hotel, which was a very good conversation to get to listen to some of the plans that the government has for this very fast growing population that has over 75% of young people. The youngest population that I know, unless if you have another China nation somewhere that has gained a new population. Also, just a little bit of last month around 16th of May 2024, Parliament passed a budget. Of course, the proposed budget that is for financial year 2024-2025, and that was up to, expenditure is expected at up to 72.136 trillion Uganda shillings. That's a cumbersome of money that is going to be spent. And thank you for paying tax, by the way. Yeah, thank you for paying tax. So that money is, I'm hoping that budget framework is looking at how the budget that's going to be read in the next few days, weeks, not very certain. We are going to be focusing on how this money is going to be allocated. Someone was asking me, how are you getting environmental conservation into budget? I'll tell you one thing. Me, I believe in development. I believe in climate change. I believe that we have lost a lot when it comes to climate change. And we are facing a lot of danger in this generation because of climate change, which we are not giving an eye. So as people are looking at different sectors, I thought I should get actually young people, very, very fresh brains. Yeah. Recently I was watching Julius Malema, who was saying that old people should not plan for the future. Well, that was extreme. They should not plan for the future because they will not be there. But away from Julius Malema, honestly, these people should really be more careful. We should be more careful when it comes to the future, because it's where we're going to be, and we're going to be there. Some people are not going to be there. It's a fact. Let me introduce my guests with me. Wonderful lady and a gentleman. Like I said, they are fresh brains. Don't look at their faces and estimate who they are. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
Should I go first?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Noah, for this opportunity to be at Smart 24 TV. My name is Elizabeth Fortunate Nandera, and I am a youth coordinator at Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, Uganda chapter. I'm also a founder of a growing organization called United Soaring Youth Africa. We'll be getting to know about it as we continue in our engagement. Awesome. But then I'm so really humbled to be here to share information in regard to environmental conservation, and I'm really very interested in the topic because in a way it is connecting to the national budget, yes, which really calls for the state, and I'm really excited to be part of the engagement. So thank you.
She's a lawyer in the making. She forgot to say that, possibly. Mr. Walter, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself formally to my audience.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name is Walter Osingai Etebesit, the CEO of Walton Africa Waste Company Limited. At the same time, I'm also part of PACJA, that is the alumni of Nairobi Summer School. I'm also a yearly alumni, that is the Young African Leaders Institute. And also, at the same time, the Climate, Energy and Environment Thematic Lead of the Youth Sounding Board of the EU in Uganda. That is really more of advisory for young people in Uganda and trying to bridge the gap between young people and the EU But aside from that, I'm so happy today to be in this topic because climate change is here, it's a reality, and it's something that we need to urgently act upon and come up with urgent solutions so that we can come up with a secure future for our young children and also for the upcoming generations.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Walter. I know one thing, we are going to understand what climate change is. Now, the fact that experts are here, so we will be getting to understand what climate change is. No gossiping, just facts. So that you sit down there and you know this is what is meant to be done. Like I was saying, today's conversation is relating the national budget to environmental conservation. And I remember a few days ago we had a team from the Uganda Kingdom who were talking about biodiversity, and we had a very interesting conversation. It's what makes Smart 24 TV unique, because we are looking at things that basically a number of people are ignoring to address. We realized that we had not seen questions related to to environmental conservation, climate change in the national census, by the way. Were you counted?
Yes, I was.
Did you see any questions
No,
related to climate change?
not at all.
Now, we had a conversation here. I think you both missed to consult with climate change activists and NEMA, National Environmental Management Authority, and the other institutions that are in charge of making sure the environment is safe.
Yeah.
So, nail on the head, we missed that part.
Yes, we did.
Which means, I think we are missing to plan against climate change. So, Madam Elizabeth.
Yes, please.
What is climate change? I know we are talking so much about it. I want you to help people understand what is climate change.
Thank you so much again, Noah. You got me chuckling a bit there when you reminded me about the mere fact that the government did not consider inquiring from people about how climate change has been in position to affect them individually. Personally, I'm a farmer, and I didn't introduce that at first, but I'm a farmer, I'm a beekeeper, and the fact that I'm a beekeeper, climate change also does address to me. Yes, affect me in a way, because if we do not have enough trees, the bees do not get enough forage, so that means that it affects the number of bees. Yes, affecting the ecosystem, of course. Yes. So now, basically, climate change are the unprecedented environmental kind of unprecedented patterns of weather, unprecedented patterns of weather, whereby, because I'm trying now to explain it in a more understandable kind of perspective, like they do affect us in a long run, but then when they come when they're serious. It's not like the weather conditions that we always had. We have heavy rains today and then tomorrow, but then this time around it's extreme. If you're having heavy rains, it's extreme. And then you will not know that this is a season for the rainfall. Yes, you may have the rains like within 2 to 3 days, and you think it's a rainy season, and then after like 3 days or 4 days, it's a heat wave. And that happened to people earlier in January. It came and rained like the whole of January, and people thought it was going to rain. People planted their crops down in the village. People did plant crops. But then they were disappointed that everything had to dry up because they did not know exactly what was coming. Now, those are some of the signs of climate change. It's related to weather, but this time around in a harsh way. Yes.
That reminds me of, it's like we are radicalizing the climate.
Yes, exactly.
Right, at the end of the day, when someone's radicalized, you never know when he's going to possibly wear a bomb and then come and explode before people. Exactly. Is that relating? I think I'm in this game. Mr. Walter, is an addition to understanding of climate change. I know you are an activist and you are working on projects that are related to climate change. You are fighting for the future, in addition to the understanding of these?
Thank you, Noah. As my colleague has said, she has said most of it, and she has tried to summarize most of it. But basically, climate change, the change in the shifts of weather patterns and temperatures, whereby you realize that we have some of these extreme weather patterns that she has mentioned about, the rainfalls, the droughts, the high temperatures, the heat waves. Then also we can see that also mostly when it comes to the high temperatures, we can see that, like an example of last year in 2023, the world experienced the most. It was the most, like we had the most hottest month. I think it was last year around June, July there, that the world experienced since, I don't know, ever since mankind began living. We experienced the hottest month around the world. Like it was hot, like it was recorded like the hottest month of the year, actually the hottest year. So we see that some of those problems like high temperatures are caused by things like global warming that was started obviously by the Industrial Revolution in the global north, and which we cannot, and which we are paying now the debt. We as Africans, we are most affected by this climate, but simply because these people in the global north, they had in the industrialization, they had that kind of development, and so they're able to emit all those greenhouse gases, which now come back to us, we Africans, and we are affected by all these side effects of climate change. And so I realize also that we as Africa, we're just emitting less than 4% greenhouse gases, but we are affected more in Africa. And so that shows you the fact that we as Africa, we really need urgent support and urgent solutions for this climate change, because look at us, our economies are very weak. Our infrastructure is very weak. Our disaster risk management is very weak. But yet at the same time, we are the ones that are most hit. Can you imagine?
Yes.
We are most hit, and yet we are underdeveloped. We are poor countries. We don't have the money to respond. We don't have the infrastructure, the development that can mitigate some of these things. And yet the global north, that has contributed most of the greenhouse gases, they are developed. And when they are faced by some of these things, they can easily respond because they have the money. But us as Africa, specifically Uganda, we even don't have a special climate fund that is there, put aside for climate change and other activities and environmental conservation. So that's really a very big problem, given the fact that we are third world countries and also we are struggling economies.
Elizabeth, you think we are poor to handle this?
Okay, that question is a bit triggering, and I want you to sort of safeguard my voice to that in regard, because if you said you think we are poor,
it can be a yes or no.
I don't think we are poor. I think we've just been taken for granted and made vulnerable.
I knew you had that answer. I knew you had that answer. But yes, I think so. Because honestly, if you look at the whole policies and how we are implementing them, you realize that we are missing the point. Like we said, even in the national census, we did not evaluate the measure at which we are losing the environment. We are losing our safety. You get. So I think the poverty we are looking at is sort of being taken for granted. I would agree with that. But with funds, and honestly, the government is also, apart from the census, in the national budget, I think the government has a plan for environmental conservation. That's in the national budget framework. They have allocated that, and the program is the natural resource environment, climate change, land and water management. So they have a goal to reduce environmental degradation and the adverse effects of climate change, as well as improve on utilization of natural resources for sustainable economic growth and livelihood security. So these are here. And they have objectives to ensure availability of adequate and reliable quality fresh water resources for all use, and increase forest, tree, and wetland coverage, restore bare hills, and protect mountainous areas and rangelands. So the government has put this in the budget. Some good money has been allocated. My concern is, ever since you got into climate change, where are you seeing the gaps in Uganda as a young person? Because it's one thing to have this on paper. You are in implementation area. I am in the theory. Even the person who made this budget might be in the theory. Where are you seeing the practical gap? Practically, where are you seeing the gaps?
You know, Noah, it's quite interesting how the government and the people that draft the budget for government activities, or the implementation of all these activities that they put on the budget. I like how they get to allocate and how smart and beautiful it is on paper. And now the question is, who will be implementing the activities that have been manifested in the objectives in regard to the budget? Because yes, we have the money is there on paper, perhaps it's there even practically. But then how is that money fitting into the implementation process of all these objectives that are put there? Now, me as a young person, when I joined climate change, I should say that I learned all these aspects of climate change in Nairobi Summer School on climate justice and Tanzania International Model on climate change. And it's something that I had never understood from Uganda. Like it wasn't addressed to me at all. But then when I got into the implementation process, I did not identify any kind of government program in regard to implementing these activities that shall be in position to address this particular problem. Now, because we are young people that in one way or the other are committed to our state, because now we are not here forever. One thing that I keep on telling my friends is that we're not young forever. So while you're still very young and you're committed to your own state, somehow you're obligated to do something that has a generational impact.
Yes.
Because we have had people that have done what we have found, and so in a way we need to do the same. So now we get to dig deep into our pockets, money that has been already cut off by the tax, so we dig deep into our pockets to be in position to implement something. But it's really very disheartening to know
patriotism.
Yes, it's very disheartening to know that there's a budget for these particular activities. If there is a budget for land cover, and yet we cannot access trees, for instance. How do you defend that kind of budget? Honestly, someone keeps on still reminding me that it's hard to defend Uganda because everything is beautiful on paper, but but how do we get to implement this beautiful paperwork? How do we get to implement this? That the implementation part is still extremely lacking. Yes, and I don't see it being worked on anytime soon. Honestly,
there we are. Elizabeth tends to agree with the framework, but let's see. Sometimes when you cover a wound, you may not get someone to help you heal that wound. But it's good to uncover this. And you're Ugandan. It's good you're talking about the differences in the implementation. That we see so many of these things on paper. It's on record that even scholars, even prominent people, politicians, they also cite some of these examples as Uganda having some of the best policies in the world on paper. But implementation is where we don't see policies on corruption, policies on gender-based issues, policies on democracy, policies on so many other things, policies on climate change. But implementation, I think we still have failed to build a backbone that can stand, the spine that can stand and make sure that we implement the things. Mr. Walter, on the issue of, now we know that the government has this in plan. Already you have told us, poverty is too much in the country. Yes. Have you had a saying on the street where people tell you that you're poor alone?
Yeah.
It's a common saying in Uganda. But Mr. Walter, what is your view on the issue of, as a young person, on the issue of government allocation of this? Do you think you're going to see a difference in terms of climate change campaigns and projects?
Thank you very much, Noah. First of all, I want to start by saying is that I believe this is not the first time government is putting money for climate, natural resources, land, and water management. I believe that even in the last financial year, government committed some money for some of these activities. But the only major problem is, as my colleague has said, implementation, number one. Number two, it is on the mind and also the political will, the will to implement some of these solutions in the local communities. But also even it goes down up to our local leaders in the local communities that are not even aware of what climate change is. They don't have knowledge. So it still goes down to capacity building. We have the district resources officers, we have the district environmental officers, but some of these people, some of them get jobs. The way they get jobs is not really according to their qualification or according to this problem the community is facing that they are called for to solve. So it still goes down to capacity building. Most of these people do not have this knowledge, and we really need to do much more on capacity building. I don't know if that fund has an area where they are going to say they are going to.
They have quite a number of
capacity
objectives
building. They are going to scale people.
Framework, yes.
But yes, they are going to. They have the money. They have allocated 400 something billion for that area. But all I can say is that I cannot expect a lot, obviously, but. I believe they're going to do some work as government, because I've seen them running some projects on water, catchment and restoration, water in northern Uganda. But I've seen them, they have really been much more focused on water management. But otherwise, another challenge with our government is that sometimes they can allocate, let's say, the 400 billion for that climate, land, what. But in actual sense, the money released is not going to be 400, that amount. It's not going to be that amount. Because remember, the money is released in quarters. So on the 400, they may release, let's say, like 100 million. And then by the time you realize you're already in another financial year, and we have not released the other remaining amount. So what I'm trying to say is that on paper, we may be seeing 400 something. But in actual reality, when they are implementing the projects, you realize that they have spent like 100 billion Uganda shillings, and obviously they will not do most of the areas that put there, tree planting or wetland restoration, land restoration. Obviously, they will not do all those activities. I think one thing I've realized with government is that they focus more on one activity, because what I've been seeing, they have been much more focused on water retention, like having water readily available for farmers in the local communities like in northern Uganda, and also being able to extend water services to the local people. Which is a good thing. But now when it comes to reforestation efforts, there really government is lacking, because the same government accepting people to cut down trees in West Nile, in Zoka forests. I think you've heard about Zoka forests.
Yes.
Zoka forests.
And there has been a lot of
50%
I saw Donga chasing people from cutting charcoal.
50%.
People who come from actually Kampala.
We have lost like 50% of the natural, and it's a natural forest. And the people who are cutting charcoal there, and the people who are trading charcoal there, surprisingly, are not the local people in that community. There are people from Kampala, there are people from Western Uganda.
Who licenses them to do that?
So, when we talk about tree planting, the same government is the one that is unable to implement some of the policies, enforcing stopping those people from cutting down trees, because in that same, let's say, in that same rainforest, we have animals, nature and biodiversity. So when we are cutting down the trees, we are losing the animals also. There is extinction of species. Some of the rare trees that have been in that forest,
we're losing the bees
we are losing
as well.
them. We are losing
And
the
the
bees.
farmer here is...
We are losing. We are losing so many things. At the same time, government is saying that yes, we are going to plant trees. What? Yeah. So I believe they are going to do some work, but though
you are not satisfied, you're not convinced.
I'm not convinced.
Considering the fact that a number of things are left unchecked.
Yes.
We are going to be going off into a short commercial break, but we still have this conversation going. In the conversation, in the examples you were giving, one of the senior journalists in this country did an investigative story in Mabera Forest and realized that so many people are cutting down trees. They are not even using machines. They're that smart. They go traditional with saw. Yes, pangas and are they called saws. So they cut trees quietly there. Now, the strange part of the story is that they are being protected by armed men in the forest. So when you create that story and say, yes, the budget is allocated, but then the capacity to implement, I think it's where our call comes in. And we say, okay, we have these partners who are young people who are committed to making sure that the environment is protected. And if the young people have risen up with patriotism, with this patriotic spirit, and they want to face the challenges, then I think it's a right thing to say the government should also make sure that they pick up their iron arm and make sure that a number of these culprits who are fighting what we are promoting are captured and brought to answer for what they are doing. We'll go into a short commercial break. When we return, Smart 24 TV still on. The Economic Agenda is the show that you are watching. We are talking about Uganda national budget and youth innovation, and of course focus on environmental conservation. Thank you for being part of the show. I'll return shortly.
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
Mom vs. Wife is a cooking competition where we provide the food and the recipes and they get to cook. Guess the holy judges. Man who binds the two of them. A son to a man, a husband to a wife.
Definitely, I'm going to win.
Are you sure?
I try to balance because I don't have issues after this show. So.
Nzikirizibwa okugamba nti byonna bimpomedde
ng'osoose kubirya ate ng'olidde ku alaali
bonna bawanguti.
Man vs Wife.
Amannya gange bampita Agnes Kasoga. Kolera Nakawa nze muwanguzi nawangudde school fees. Nabadde simanyi ng'ebintu bino bya ddala kubanga neyankubira namulimba nnyo ne mugamba nkolera Nakifuma nga manyi bafere olwamala ate naddamu nankubira ne mugamba ekituufu sikolera Nakifuma mbadde manyi muli bafere nga simanyi bya ddala nalabirawo nga baŋŋamba ndi omu ku bawanguzi naye nsanyuka nnyo.
Akalulu k'omuwanguzi!
Okuwangula kyangu nnyo, teeka ssente ku ssimu yo otandika okusasulira ku ssimu yo. Abantu mbakakasiza era nabagambye bwe mulaba nga bampadde ne mbagamba nga mutegeera bituufu kubanga nange mwennyini mbadde nga ku TV nga manyi balimba naye ke neerabiddeko bwe nti kyekyo ddala kyekyo MTN osobola okuwangula.
Together we're unstoppable. Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda, yeah, I want ya.
Smart 24, driving business.
And yes, this is Smart 24 TV. Welcome back from that short commercial break. My name is Noah Opera, and we are having one of those very important conversations that I would love to have, that is about climate change, environmental conservation. We are focusing on the youth innovations in climate change. And I think that's where I want to first go a bit of into that conversation. Elizabeth, I would like to know what you're doing in relation to climate change.
I should say that I'm doing a number of things. Like I earlier stated, I'm a beekeeper.
Yes.
So we do a lot of beekeeping. I rear bees on a 2-acre piece of land, and we have 200 beehives.
200?
Exactly.
That's
exactly. We take note that we began with 5.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
Yes. I work with a team of young people in Busia district.
In Busia?
Yes.
That should be near the lake? Not even near the lake?
No, at the border.
At the border.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
At the border in Busia district. So that's one of the initiatives that we do have as young people. Another initiative that we have is that we do a lot of demonstration farms. So now when it comes to demonstration farms, we plant a number of crops on the same piece of land, but then we're in position to plant them in a more climate smart way. Yes, so even when you look at the products that we produce, because we even use organic pesticides, our products are clean, I should say, extremely clean. I think next time Noah should, invite me and then I showcase these things that I'm talking about.
Yes,
we Africans have our eyes in the hands. Yes, and then we also have a water retention project initiative and the Afro Time in the organization.
Okay.
And this project seeks to have farmers to continue practice agriculture even in drought times.
Okay.
Yes, we're having it implemented in Karamoja already. And then the very last one that we are embarking on is the waste management. We are trying to produce biogas from garbage.
From garbage?
Yes.
Okay. And Walter, what the project you're doing, what are you focusing on that is related to climate change?
Thank you very much, Noah. So what I do basically is in the thematic area of adaptation and mitigation. But specifically as my organization, we are into waste management. But how we do our waste is not just the usual waste management that you see around Kampala here and other people around Uganda. What we do is that we try to leverage technology and artificial intelligence to see a way that we can improve the working space of the waste pickers and also the people who are sorting waste because the waste is made up of different elements, plastics, textiles, food. So we are really trying to be better than the rest outside there by using technology and embracing the changing world. And so my project in my organization, we basically do waste management through using artificial intelligence, that is computer spectroscopy, and also laser systems to improve, also to help those people who are sorting the waste, and also to help us in running machines and all that. And so right now, that organization of mine is based in Soroti City, and that is where we are doing our work from, and we are looking forward to expanding to the other cities of Uganda, but of course that requires substantial funding. Aside from that, on the mitigation part of it, the waste management is both mitigation, but waste management is basically mitigation because we are reducing greenhouse gases from going to the atmosphere that are released from the food waste, decomposing, and also the plastics that take more than 1,000 years on the soil to decompose, and also the textile waste that emit methane gas to the air. So on the adaptation part of it, we are basically building the capacities of farmers in the local grassroots communities, in the area of smart agriculture, building them and educating them, giving them the knowledge on how they can embrace smart agriculture and the tools, the necessary tools they need. And aside from that, we also encourage farmers to grow bamboo. I think you've heard about bamboo. Why bamboo? Because bamboo is it's carbon sink. It's too high, but more than the other trees, better than the other trees. It absorbs carbon more. And so we encourage farmers in the local communities to avail a certain piece of land where they can be able to grow this bamboo. After all, this bamboo, even if it grows and matures, you can use it for different purposes, such as furniture. Instead of relying on the firewood from these indigenous trees, you can use it for firewood. At the same time, you can use it for building these artistic
and they grow very fast.
Artistic lodges, and they grow very fast. Imagine in like 1 year, around a month, and you're able to harvest. And also, I think in Bale, it's also used as a local delicacy.
Well, that is special bamboo.
Special bamboo, yeah, special bamboo. So they have different categories, and so the category that we encourage farmers to grow is basically that one that is thick, and you can have the timber from it and make the products such as furniture. I also build special lodges. I mean, there are those different designed, beautiful lodges made out of bamboo, just bamboo only. So it's really something that can give you income if you embrace it and grow it in a large scale. So me, basically, I grow it in my home district area, where I have certain piece of land, and
you have grown bamboo.
Yes.
So you have grown bamboo.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Somebody is doing urban climate change, and another is doing rural.
Yeah, rural.
I expected that Elizabeth was in urban, and I mean the other man is typical from Serere.
Yes.
But Mr. Walter, Mr. Walter, I still have to ask you something. You are in urban. How are you finding the challenges in the urban areas when it comes to climate change, to the fight against climate change? What some of those common challenges that you're facing. You're working with people. You know, one of the biggest challenges in these urban areas is garbage. People litter. Ugandans can't litter. You find someone in a very expensive car, Range Rover Sport, takes water, throws on the road, and I feel like stoning the car anyway. So what are some of these other challenges that you're facing working with these guys?
So when basically we come to the urban area or urban setting, one thing I've seen with government and other people who are into this business is that they are actually not solving the primary problem. I mean the root cause of the problem, because for them their work is just to collect and all that, but the main problem is mindset of the people, and also being able to charge these people, and also being able to alert these people to open up their minds and see that they can be able to take responsibility of their environment, of their community where they're staying. And let me just give you an example. Now if you tell someone like today, don't throw a polythene bag there or litter, don't litter, and just tell him today only, and then you disappear for some time, trust me, that person will keep on throwing. But now if you come to that person individually and have a conversation with that person, and also try to educate that person and tell that person, look, these are the effects that come from polythene bags affecting our soil, and this is how it's causing climate change. And I believe with that you will really be able to unlock the mind of someone and open up someone's mind. Another thing is that we have not been able to implement some of the urban policies that we want, that we're supposed to have in the urban areas, like cities, policies like the polluter pay policy, whereby we are charging someone. Let's say the city council is enforcing a policy on polythene bag, like saying no throwing polythene bag there. If you're going to be charged this amount. So we are failing to enforce such a policy, because if we enforce such a policy, people will become awake and they'll be like, if I litter today here, I'll be charged. So that is what our city councils are also failing to do. And number 3 is that the way the urban design, the way our urban areas have been built, it was not built in a planned way. Just an example of Kampala, there is no serious planning, although I understand that KCC has a developmental plan and urban plan, but it has not really been implemented, because people just build randomly. People build in the wetlands. People build in an area that they just cut the soil like this. They cut the soil and then they put a building. They cut the soil, they put a building. They cut a rock, they put a building. They just build randomly.
Nature is not respected.
They don't care. They don't care. Nature is not respected. It's not even about nature. Even
in Bali, someone blocked a main road and built a school in the middle.
But even if it was just yes, nature is there. But if we really had the planning, let's say we have planned for this city, trust me, at least we would be able to mitigate some of these problems, such as flooding in the city areas. If we really had the planning and the good sewage systems where the water flows when it rains, we have water catchment areas that are not destroyed, the wetlands that absorb some of the water are being built on. So it's really a matter of the developmental plan, implementation of some of the policies that we really. But back to for my work is basically mindset change and trying to open up the minds of people that we are basically doing right now, and we are really good. We are really moving in the right direction with opening up the minds of people. Towards climate change and making people responsible for their environment, making sure that they just don't litter there. They just have a special place where they're dumping their rubbish, where people can pick them from.
Elizabeth,
yes.
I think this man has taken like enough time to exhaust on these issues. But for me, what I love is information.
Yes.
Viable information that at the end of the day, someone that is watching is going to be like, okay, this is possible. Because if you're talking about bamboo as a solution, I'm realizing that even people in urban areas can plant bamboo. You have a compound, you have I usually see some people in the corner of your gate, of your fence, you plant some bamboo there. And I think someone out there like me, the same as me, may not have really gotten to understand the value of bamboo, that it actually does, that the terms you use them may not go in there. But I think that's interesting, and if it contributes to climate change, to environmental conservation, why not?
Yeah.
We need to embrace that. Back to Elizabeth, the work you're doing.
Yes.
Some of those challenges you're facing as you push for climate change, because you have explained to us you're rearing bees,
yes.
and I think you didn't explain much of how are bees really related to climate change. Of course, I may know.
Yes.
But if you tell someone climate change and then bees, yes.
Okay. All right, I'll really try to break down these terminologies, because now if I'm to talk about bees in regard to climate change, I'll bring in terminologies like regenerative agriculture, and that will be something, again,
you have to make
others.
sure that Jaja, who speaks some English, understands.
Yes, but then just to make everything simple, we all know that for the plants to be in position to grow, or to be, there's that aspect of pollination that has to happen to them. So somehow the bees, by all means, are connected to the growth and wellness of a plant, because they have to pollinate them, and then that's the simplest way I can kind of connect bees to,
I'll jump from Walter's project. I want to take up Elizabeth's project, because first of all, she's rearing bees. She gets honey.
Yes.
I love honey.
Yes. Yes.
Generating money from the farm.
Yes.
But also saving the environment.
Yes.
For Walter, he's fighting with people's minds, which Walter, hands up, honestly, well done. But yes, the bees. That's an interesting concept that you approached, because I would, maybe somebody out there would not imagine that rearing bee is actually contributing to environmental conservation. But now we know clearly that rearing bees is environmental conservation.
Yes.
Let's respect beekeepers, because I think we are having issues, the fact that bees are now not very free. They could be in the trees, they could be in the forest, and nobody goes there. But now all the smallest forests have been cut down, and they can't be there. So someone like you who comes up and offers 2 acres of land and say, please do not come here, these are my friends, I need to keep them because they are going to save your lives.
Yes. Yes, it's kind of funny, because I know someone that has not been in the field of beekeeping will not have an understanding that actually bees, humanity, and the environment, they have some kind of relationship. But I should say that my interest with bees and my relationship with bees has grown beyond just hunting for money to sophisticated means on how to have these creatures existing. You would agree with me, Noah, that lately it's hard to find a butterfly just somewhere, somewhere. And yet when you were growing up, you would see them, you'd see them.
Talk about the birds. Some birds can't just be seen anyhow.
Exactly.
They have gone, they have disappeared. I mean, you move for kilometers, you can't even see a single animal. These small animals, even them, they have disappeared.
Yes.
But I think they also contribute because squirrels come and eat seeds, and then they go and pull somewhere, and then germinates. Birds come and eat seeds, and then they go pull somewhere, and then before you know it, it's also planting a tree.
Yes.
And these are some of the things I think that we are totally missing out. One of the things that yes, you wanted to add on something.
Yes, I wanted to just make us know or come to realization that there is something that we're missing out. If I'm to remember very well my little science that I learned in primary school, butterflies are one of the insects that were pollinating.
Yes, they were.
But now they are not there. So the only insect that we are having right now, the only fly, that we have right now, are the bees.
Yes.
Yes. So are the bees. Now, The beekeeping project.
And the butterflies.
And the bad
Yes.
The jumps.
Yes. Now, the beekeeping project, they are particular indigenous trees that are supposed to be planted for the bees to exist, because there is particular forage that bees need for their existence or for their multiplication. You know, so not like the coriander trees. You will not find them anywhere. But because you need them, you know that the bees,
Muvlet tree.
yes, you have to plant them, and that only conserves the environment. The fact that you're planting a tree for the bee, it also conserves the environment.
Are you saying that besides beekeeping, you also plant trees?
Of course, of course.
So you're conserving the forest?
Yes.
On 2 acres?
Yes, we do a lot of planting of trees, and then also you cannot plant. Bees cannot be in a place where there's no water. So even the streams that are there have to be protected and taken care of.
I'm coming to live with your bees.
Yes, they love that kind of environment.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I think, Walter, looking at the project that Elizabeth is doing and the project that you're doing, I would like to know of the relationship between you, your efforts, and the government institutions. How are you finding it? Are they supporting? Because yes, we can see that the budget is inclusive of environmental conservation, afforestation. So do you find the relationship between government institutions and your project, are they being supportive to the work of climate change?
Thank you, Noah. First of all, I want to say is that the 400-something billion that they have allocated in the budget for climate and other issues is basically ending up in the Ministry of Water, Environment, and Water and Environment. And so it's the technocrats there, the ones who are going to implement those projects. It's not us, the young people. It's not a Opolot in the village there. It's not Nandutu there in Mbale. It's not anyone. It's just them. It's just their engineers. It's just there are people who work at the ministry there that will go on the grassroots and mobilize people and work with the local leaders there and implement their own projects. There will be no involvement of young people, obviously. And so really,
you can't say obviously. Has it been happening like that?
Me, I've not seen in my life, so I don't know if other people have seen. But all I want to say is that, to be honest, me, when it comes to my projects, the only part that I've benefited from government is getting the authority from them, getting the licensing from them,
which you pay for,
which I pay for, and also having that partnership agreement with the city council. Do
you also pay for that?
No. Like that one is basically your friendship, maybe with the city clerk or the town clerk. So that is just the relationship, like to give you that leverage to be able to operate your business conducively in an environment. That is what I've gained from government. And when it comes to support for young initiatives, sadly, that one is not there right now. What young people can be able to access right now is only the loans from the banks, which come at very high interest rates. Secondly, people are only able to access grants when they enter certain kinds of accelerators for those that are doing businesses, certain kinds of competitions like NSSF where people are winning money, and it's also, that one is also limited to maybe 20 people only or 10 people. Imagine out of...
Have you ever gotten any of those?
I've never got those NSSF. I've never got, basically, I've never got, basically, the money that we as a company raise, on our organization raise, basically comes from individual donations, like from other countries, or grants that we apply from other international organizations or other organizations based in other countries. But here in Uganda, the opportunities are really so limited. As I've told you, like even those opportunities that are available there, it's only a limited number of people who will be able to win them or get them. So there is really high competition And though I don't want to say that I'm not trying to say that I cannot get them, but obviously I can also get into the accelerators because right now, speaking, I'm in like 2 accelerators in the same space of looking for grants, looking for funding and all that. So when it comes to government, there's really a detachment with working with the young people, and I believe that where government really needs to improve is to involve young people in their projects, but not just in projects, also decision making, governance processes, and also working with the people in the grassroots community, and mostly young people, because it's the young people who have the energy, obviously, to implement most of these projects. So I believe they need really there is much more needed to integrate young people in.
There's someone here watching, it's called Magezi. He says, good work. Environmental conservation is where the youth should indeed interest themselves in, because he said we, the youth, should interest ourselves in, because that's where our livelihood is. Otherwise, if we act otherwise, we shall face the harsh reflex action of climate change.
Yeah,
that's a hard message. That's a very hard message, which reminds me of Malema. What did we say? Malema said, it's young people that should really plan, work hard for their future, because they are going to be there. Someone who is 80 years right now, he's not going to be there after 20 years unless really, because we have.
But surprisingly, the people who are that age, they want to work alone without involving the young people. Or even if the young people are there, they are really so limited, a few number of them. Or the same number of people, the same young people who are always getting the same opportunities are not going to the other people. So it's very difficult.
Well, I have the young people here, and they speak up. And they are working. They are not just speaking up, but they are working, and that is an impressive action taken. So we are going to step out a little bit for a short commercial break. When we return, we're going to get into youth innovation more and environmental conservation. Let's see what some of those things that need to be done from you. You'll get ideas, potential ideas for those. You may be an adult and watching this show, and you can still join and start a project from some of these innovations that these young people are going to share with you. Thank you, whoever is on, and we shall return after a short commercial break. This is the Economic Agenda, and this is Smart 24 TV Driving Business. My name is Noah. Stay tuned.
Smart 24, driving business.
Bulu magic is my joy. Ono bulu magic wange.
Talaba kumabala atukuza nonyirirawo kirako enyange tayisa bubi fabriki kyonna tekiri kigwa lwa bulu magic is my choice. Ono bulu magic ye wange. Ambye bulu magic is my choice. Hey, ono bulu magic ye wange.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens experience in the east at Seasan Hotel So visit today at Plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
We've been through a lot. The only reason why we are still standing is because we're the Kirundas. And therefore the need to keep that name and legacy alive.
There's something you're not telling us.
What are you talking about?
So you knew about the people that killed Teresa and you kept it to yourself?
Lucy, the last time we did not do it properly.
Amanya gange bampita Agnes Kasoga. Kolera nakawa nze muwanguzi na wangudde school fees. Na desimanyinga ebintu bino bya ddala kubanga ne yankubira namulimba nnyo. Ne mugamba nkolera nakifuma nga manyi bafere. Olwamala ate naddamu nankubira. Ne mugamba ekituufu sikolera nakifuma. Badde manyi muli bafere nga simanyi bya ddala. Nalabirawo nga bangamba ndi omu ku bawanguzi naye nsanyuka nnyo.
Akalulu k'omuwanguzi!
Okuwangula kyangu nnyo, teeka ssente ku ssimu yo, otandike okusasulira ku ssimu yo. Abantu mbakakasiza era nabagambye bwe mulaba nga bampadde ne mbagamba nga mutegeera bituufu kubanga nange mwennyini mbadde nga ku TV nga manyi balimba naye ke neerabiddeko bwe nti kyekyo ddala. MTN osobola okuwangula.
Together, we're unstoppable.
Smart 24, driving business.
Okay, right there. Thank you so much for keeping it on Smart 24 TV. My name is Noah, and we are back with the economic agenda. One of the shows you should be waiting for every day because we do not choose to go. We just come here and discuss ideas. Yeah. So you want to think bigger, economic agenda. And today we are discussing environmental conservation, tackling the national budget allocation, and of course youth innovation. Let's see how the young people are relating with the national budget, and let's see how the national budget is relating with environmental conservation. And of course, I gave you, from the framework that was launched today, some of the objectives of the government, including strengthening land use and management, and increase forest, trees, and wetland coverage, restore bare hills, and protect mountainous areas and range land. So it's in plan. The government has all these things in plan, and we are looking forward to making sure that climate change this year is one of the key things that are going to be focused on. But that can't be done without the young people. And one of the viewers here said the young people should interest themselves in environmental conservation. That's Mr. Magezi. And of course, if you're out there and you want to be part of the show, you can go right ahead on our Twitter handle. That is Smart24 TV now. And Facebook, Smart24 TV. And you can leave us a comment or a message. You can also check out Noah Wapera on Twitter or X. Actually, I'm so old school. I still love the Twitter thing. It makes a lot of So yes, the bird was late flying, but let's get back to the conversation. Before we left, we were getting to hear some of the innovations, some of the projects that Elizabeth and Walter are doing. Walter in Soroti and Elizabeth in Busia. And they are doing amazing work there. somebody's rearing bees on 2 acres of land. And of course, she says she's not doing it alone, but she's working with a number of young people. By the way, have you benefited from any government programs? I mean, we have had a lot of programs. Yes. Youth Livelihood Fund, Ntandikwa. By Ntandikwa, were you grown? Ntandikwa, Emioga, Parish Development Model. Has any of you benefited from those projects to support the initiative you're doing?
Personally, I have benefited from the government.
From which one?
From the government program, PDM.
PDM?
Nice. Yes, PDM. And I should say that the government programs, not for my initiative particularly, but in regard to other initiatives that we have as young people in Busia district.
Okay.
One thing that I should commend the government for is that the government has a vision to see that these programs or these finances that are putting in the pockets of a young farmer out there, that kind of capital is put in the soil. But that's not what is being done, because this money is finding people that are not ready.
Okay.
But now one thing that helped us as young people of Busia district to benefit from these funds is that we were ready. While they were telling us to form groups, for us we had already formed groups and we were already practicing farming.
You were in the future.
Yes, we were already in the future, already practicing.
You have focus.
Come on. We were already practicing farming. So now this program coming on board, we were like, okay, this is another just kind of miracle. So when it came, we were prepared and somehow in position to invest the finances in the agriculture sector.
Okay.
Yes,
was it easy?
It was easy. It was easy because we didn't get to divide.
How much did you get?
Because 900,000.
900,000. That's good money. That's good money for a young person that already has her foundation.
Yes.
I think that's good money. It can boost you. It can help you possibly pay the workers.
Yes.
Maybe buy some more beehives and increase on the work.
A lot of beehives, actually.
You bought beehives?
No.
You didn't buy
it. But it can help you buy a lot of
them. But it can help you buy the beehives.
Yes.
I would really want to know how you spent that money.
Yes.
But I think that's interesting. Besides the initial conversation that we had, that implementation is lacking. It's also good to know that at the end of the day, there's something that has been contributed to your efforts. Walter, what have you benefited from?
Walter is laughing.
Why are you just laughing, Walter?
Okay, thank you very much. So when it comes to the government programs, the PDM, I didn't benefit, though I'm part of a group. I became part of a group, but I don't know what happened with the money. But I think
the money didn't arrive.
I think the money came, but
you think?
All right. So this is what happened. I registered myself as part of a group for PDM money. But
with a group.
But yeah, with a group. But what happened is that the money in my district delayed to come. So in the middle of those delays and what I got kind of detached from the group and all that, getting the updates and what, I just decided to focus on other things. But another government program that at least I did not benefit, but some of my friends benefited from, mostly the local community.
Okay.
And it really had an impact in their life is the Youth Livelihood Fund that we were able to lobby for, me with my district youth chairperson and other friends of ours that are youth leaders basically in the district. They're able to get the fund, but obviously it is always, it benefited mostly the local people at the local communities.
Okay.
And so when it came to me, I was basically just trying to empower the local people and not be the beneficiary. So as I've told you, there's a way I get so much detached and I try to forget about everything.
It's very understandable.
Yeah, but the people benefited, and as you well
when
know,
you applied, what was your main target of the funds? And
the main target is basically to help the young people, the young men in our communities that are depending on, because we know that when you go to the village, you find young boys have families. boys of like 20 something, they have children like 3.
Yes.
And they at the same time they are farmers. So it really benefited them when it came to farming and growing of the crops and basically agriculture. And so that is how
so one thing that I know, there are so many government institutions and other stakeholders that are interested in climate change, or that are capable of supporting climate change. Just the other day here we were running a story about Uganda Investment Authority that has committed itself in planting 2 million trees around Uganda industrial parks. I don't know if you know about that program. Yeah, so they have a target of planting 2 million trees, and just the other day they were planting trees around in Namave, and I think Namave is one of the biggest industrial parks in Uganda. And it's one of those very interesting programs that I look at. This is a question I would want to pose to you. How do you think government and its institutions and other stakeholders should help young people to get more involved in climate change? Elizabeth?
Now, one of the things that the government should really be intentional about to pull young people into aspects to do with climate change is that government should interest herself in regard to delegating work. Delegating all these activities that they want young people to implement. But then, before even I get to the aspect of delegation, I work with a community. I work with a community and young people from the community who have zero knowledge in regard to climate change. Zero knowledge. And you didn't ask me about the challenges, you asked Walter. But one of my biggest challenges is the fact that I'm working with a community that does not understand the whole idea of climate change, and they're not ready to understand something that is very new to them. They're a bit conservative. So now when you get to tell them and try to introduce this kind of understanding to them, they are like, okay, what are you talking about? I mean, it doesn't really add up, it doesn't make sense to them. So the government should be intentional about educating the young people in communities, because that's where implementation of this whole climate change knowledge, the practicability of it, is put to reality. That's the truth. That's the truth, because that's where there is vast land. That's where the people are cutting trees. Walter was stating here that the people that are cutting trees are from Kampala, but then that's where it's happening. So that means that the direct effects are directly going to the people that are left behind. So the government needs to invest in educating communities intentionally and getting into the practical bit of this knowledge, not just throwing some kind of maybe session in the community and then having people coming together and then telling them, you know what, people, this is what is happening, we're having unprecedented climate change patterns, this is what we're supposed to be doing. No, can we have this knowledge? Can we have this knowledge getting to an extent of being emulated in its practicability? Can these people appreciate?
Can it be localized?
Yes, can it be localized? Can they get to appreciate it? And then on top of that, the young people are having different initiatives,
Yes.
From different angles. And all of them, because the young people are broke. That's the truth. Most of the young people are broke. So now, at the end of the day, even when they're having these initiatives, where is the money of all these innovations? Where is the money? That's the question behind every person is, That's why I started up the Big Gaping project, because I knew at the end of the day I'll get the money.
You will get the money,
yes. As I'm trying to protect and conserve the environment, I am getting money out of it. Because there is no way you're going to bring together over 300 young people in a community that is poor and address to them something that they're not getting from. That one is out, totally out, and it's a failure from the start.
Wow.
So can we have the government getting intentional, educating young people and nurturing them in aspects that shall help them, first of all, go practical about climate change knowledge, and then also be in position to earn a living earn an income out of all these initiatives that they're having. And also, I'm working with a German organization that provides training sessions for young people. Now, these training sessions are in regard to transforming garbage to biogas. Now me, at first, I had an understanding from internet, but now I'm getting expertise from some kind of organization that is providing expertise. So the only thing that I have is to bring my young people on board to undergo this kind of training. So by the time these young people are out of the training, they have not only gained climate change knowledge, but they have also been in position to emulate this knowledge into its practicability. And at the end of the day, they're going to earn money from the initiatives that they will have put forward. So I think that's something that the government should look into. And then for the implementation of all these budgets that they come up with, they're really good. They're really good monies, and I'm sure they can help young people. But can we have these, can we have this money delegated through organizations that shall be accountable? Because government cannot account itself. That one is out. No one can account themselves. So can we have them delegate these funds? If there is an organization that is doing good implementation or that is having very many young people with good innovations, can we channel this money to this kind of organization and have these things really implemented into their practicability? Because now it's a matter of life and death. Climate change is a matter of life and death. We have lost lives, and we cannot continue having the same kind of stories, because we have some people that cannot account for the money that has been put out on the budget. So can we have government delegating work for implementation? Because it's clear it has failed to implement in some aspects, especially areas that have big monies. So if for the case of implementation, I would suggest that we have government delegating this work.
These tasks.
Yeah, these tasks.
Get the youth involved actively.
Exactly.
Walter, how can, for starters, government interest itself and see how the youth can continue to do this job? And just like you are already into climate change, how can the government get more young people fighting for their future?
Thank you, Noah. Just like my colleague has said, she has talked of most things. But one thing I want to say is that, first of all, realize the fact that climate change is affecting young people more than anyone else. And it's going to keep on affecting young people for the upcoming years if we don't act. And so that is what government or our leaders or our elders don't realize, and they do not appreciate that. When, let me give an example, when it rains, who doesn't go to school? It's the child. When it's very hot, who is affected? It's the child that goes to school. And all those extreme weather events have a negative advantage on our children's future. You realize that these children are unable to study very well. They are unable to continue their studies in a proper manner because of some of these traumas that they are going through. And one thing also important to understand is that climate change also brings issues of trauma, mental problems and all that. And that has not been much more appreciated. But back to your question, I think what government needs to do is to, I think what my colleague has said is to really appreciate, realize that this problem is there and know that they cannot work in silos. And one excuse some government people have been talking, or some people have been saying that we young people, we are not organized, that young people are not organized, they are always talking a lot, but they cannot organize themselves, and they come for this special fund or what that is around, or they are not organized to unite Africa, something like that. But let me just say that, let's say the government says that we have allocated this amount of money for young people. Don't you think that Elizabeth and our group will get organized? We'll come for the money.
We already organized.
Okay, for Elizabeth is
the future. In fact, let them announce that on this budget we're allocating this amount for specifically young people as a youth fund for tackling climate change and environmental conservation. Do they think that we shall still be disorganized? It's just that they have failed to commit these funds that we really want. But aside from that, one special thing what government really needs to do is that they need to integrate young people in their programs, as my colleague has already said. We need to work with the young people. We need to train young people, as she has said that most of the young people in the local community are not aware of most of the things. And so that's why I was asking at the first time, is under that fund, is there capacity building under the objectives? And so one of the projects that I didn't tell you about that I do is basically capacity building and climate education around Uganda. We do this through moving around the regions of Uganda, different sub-regions of Uganda, bringing young people together to educate them on the existing climate policies in their countries, the nationally determined contributions, the Climate Change Act, the National Developmental Plans 3 and 4 that is being formulated. But specifically, also we urge government to make sure that they're able to implement some of the nice policies they have come up with. You realize the fact that in 2021 they passed the National Climate Change Bill, and in that climate change bill there is a section where it says that integration of climate change knowledge into our education curriculum, to see that we are transforming this knowledge to the young people in the school-going children, the peoples in the local communities, in the villages, to be able to get this knowledge. But what is happening? Zero. From 2021 up to now. So it still draws back up to implementation.
That's just 3 years ago.
Okay, some work has been done.
You never know.
I don't want to be radical, but
I think that's a very key, very important observation. For the record, there are so many organizations there are so many government institutions, ministries that are supposed to be handling these issues. And from what I tried to look through, the Office of the Prime Minister is also responsible for some of these implementations, because it's the office of the leader of government business. So just so you think of some of these offices that you need to go to and approach them and yes, have confidence in the government, the legal system. So Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and the world I think is operating under urban development, because you're in the urban. Ministry of Water and Environment, there's Uganda National Meteorological Authority, there's Kampala City Council Authority. These authorities have departments that handle all these things. There's National Environment and Management Authority, there's Uganda Land Commission, there's National Forestry Authority, in case you're thinking about planting trees, more trees around that. And I think these guys can give you trees actually. So besides a number of failures, the government structures are clear. They are very clear. So we need, young people need to see how they approach these different government institutions and make them accountable by trying to implement with them. And I don't want personally, I don't want to encourage young people to fear approaching these people. They should approach them, because these are public offices and they should be working with young people to see that climate change is considered as a major issue. And like Elizabeth said, awareness. I'll tell you one thing. I was approached by an organization that wanted to work with some women in Butaleja, and they were asking me, we need a group of women to train them on climate change. And I told them, yes, what category of women? I love asking questions. Of course, I'm a journalist. So they told me they wanted women that speak some English. I told them that one you will not get.
Of course.
Now, climate change has stayed up there. You get it has stayed up there. It is still in English. And when I say it's in English,
of course,
it's for elites.
Yeah, true.
Now, to you, the young people, it's what I want to pose to you in the next few times. But in 1 minute, what is that best approach you're doing to make sure that those young people understand what climate change is?
Now, the best approach that I have right now is that I'm trying to bridge the gap between young people that have been exposed to the climate change knowledge and those young people that have zero knowledge about climate change.
Wow.
Now, we come from different communities. We actually have a capacity building session here in Kampala, but this capacity building session is bringing together young people that are from different communities. Walter here is from a very different district from mine. We have young people from Western Uganda, So, and me, I can speak Samia, Walter cannot speak Samia. So if we are carrying climate change knowledge, we are trying to fit it in local language.
Yes.
If I go down there in Busia and speak climate change knowledge to a person in my local language, they will best understand it. So if you want to spread the same gospel to a place where Walter comes from, we shall have to have an agent like Walter to, pioneer this kind of engagement with the people in the communities.
Okay.
So we are bridging the gap between young people that have been exposed and young people that have not gotten the chance and the opportunity to be exposed. So coming together, because these are exposed young people that know know about climate change. So if they come together, we offer the knowledge, and for them they do the implementation, because they're the ones that are grassroots.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. In 30 seconds, Walter, because the time is up. Yes.
Thank you very much. So basically what my colleague has said, we really need to find a way of having these resources, these climate action resources broken down into indigenous and local languages in different forms, such as artistic forms, storytelling, all these forms that can help the people in the grassroots that you have talked about, like the women in Butaleja. But also, I wanted to comment on the government agencies that you listed and that we can benefit from. Yes, it's true they can assist the young people and basically when it comes to the resources and experts, because they have experts in those areas. Like let me say an example of the Ministry of Water and Energy. They have experts in adaptation, experts in mitigation. Yes, they can provide you the resources by giving you the experts to come and train your community.
Thank you.
But the only challenge is with them is that when you go to them, they cannot give you funding. They will tell you we are underfunded and the funds that we have are very little. So the only challenge comes to the funding. But they can give you the experts for
training, for
capacity building,
which is a good start.
Anyways,
this conversation never ends. Conversation on climate change never ends, and we want to thank you very much for making sure that you have kept on Smart 24 TV throughout this conversation.
Yes.
I won't even let my guests say hi to their people out there, but yes, to the friend of Elizabeth, we say hi, and of course Walter, we say hi. Economic agenda happens every Tuesday from 9 up to 10:30, and today we've been discussing national budget and youth innovation, a focus on environmental conservation, as a topic you won't find on some of these other channels. Stay tuned. My name is Noah, and time check is just exactly 31 minutes past 10. Smart 24 TV continues with more very interesting programs. We'll see you next week. Good night.